Welcome back to Texas Barndominiums. My name is Eric and this is Leroy.
What's going on there?
All right, so we have a bit of a problem right here. Well, it's not a problem. I don't want to call it a problem, but this door swings out. Okay, so as you can see, it can only go to there. And if it goes any further, it can cause damage. And because it swings out, the possibility of the wind catching it and making it swing way out is very high. So we need to do a door stop. So typically the door stops are attached to the hinges, but we also have the head trim right here in the way, so that's also not an option. So what we're gonna have to do is come up with a way to do a door stop. We can do it right there on the concrete. They make door stops for that, but they're always too short. So what do you think, Leroy?
I think you should make one. You think you can make one?
Probably.
Yeah, because you're right, they're too short.
Well,
that's exactly what's going to happen.
That's exactly.
Catches the door.
I'm going to close the door. So I'm going to go whip up a door stop right quick. I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back at my shop. Let me show you how I'm going to make this custom door stop. I'm going to be using a lathe, so remove rings, watches, anything that could potentially get caught in the lathe. No long sleeves, no long hair, whatever could potentially get caught, please remove it. All right, so this is what I'm gonna be using. This is 1.25 inch aluminum solid shaft. So we're gonna make a door stop out of this. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna face it. This is called facing. Just wanna make sure that the bottom is perfectly square. All right, and I'm gonna set my 0 right there. I'm gonna take a cut, just a clean up cut on the outside, just to make sure it's cleaned up. That gave us a pretty nice and clean looking piece. And of course now we know it's perfectly concentric and round. So now we're gonna go ahead and drill the inside. We're gonna drill it 2 inches deep so that we can thread it onto the anchor bolt. This is going to allow us to, or it's going to allow the drill bit to drill perfectly centered. And we're going to be using a 1/2-13 tap. So in order for the tap to thread properly, the tap needs to be, or the hole needs to be smaller than the tap so that so the threads can engage. So the way you do the math is you take one, so it's 1/2 inch 13. 13 means there's 13 threads in 1 inch. So you take 1 divided by 13 and you subtract that from 1/2, okay? That's going to tell you what size the hole needs to be. So I'm gonna be using a 27/64 drill bit. It's a little bit smaller than what you need, but this is aluminum, so I'm not gonna worry about it too much. Of course, for aluminum, for lubricant, WD-40 works perfectly, so that's what I'm gonna do. This is a 1/2-13 taper tap. Lube it with WD-40. All right. Before I do any of that, I'm gonna cut a taper in this hole. Just gonna touch it right there. I'm just gonna taper that hole a little bit, just so that the tap can kind of find center. I know the tap itself is tapered as well, but you can't be too careful. I'm gonna bring the tap over here. We're gonna slow the lathe way down. We're gonna go 100 RPM, okay? I'm gonna lube it again just to make sure. I'm going to not lock the tailstock. I'm going to extend it, okay? And I'm going to actually power tap, okay? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn the lathe real slow. I'm gonna shove the tailstock into it. I'm gonna let it engage. and then as it's turning, it's going to be sucking in the tailstock. That's why I want it to be free. Okay, if you never done this, don't do it, because if you go too deep, you will break the tap. This is a, like I said, it's a 1/2 inch 13 tap. So for every 1 inch, it has to do 13 revolutions. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit there and count how many revolutions this chuck makes. I'm going to go in about 1 inch, then back it off, clean it out, and then go in the rest of the way. Here we go. All right, you see this chuck right there, the chuck key? That's what I'm going to be counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, that's 13. We're going to put in reverse and go back. I'm putting pressure on the tailstock with my arm. There it is. Clean it out. These taps, they push the chips in, so you have to be extremely careful. You got to clean those chips out. If I had a spiral tap, it would actually pull the chips out, but this one doesn't. So now I'm going to allow it to engage by hand. I'm going to put lathe in neutral. Get it to engage by hand. There it is. And I'm going to start it again. 2, 3, 4, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Oh, stop it right there. We got 22 turns. That's plenty. So we just have to make sure that whenever we do the bolt in the concrete, that we don't stick it out more than about 1 inch off the concrete. Actually, we can go 1.5 inches and we'll be fine. So between 1 inch and 1.5 inches, it'll thread all the way. Now I'm going to chamfer the edges. Over here, see we have a sharp edge. I'm going to use the same boring bar, and I'm just going to put the lathe in reverse. Right there. And then just break that corner. Right there. That's all it takes. Now we don't have a sharp corner. And now we're going to put grooves in this. The reason for that is we have these O-rings, and this is going to be a door stop. And I don't want the door, the door's made out of wood. So I don't want the door to bang right up against this solid aluminum. So we're going to put these O-rings in here. I'm going to start from the bottom, and I'm going to go up here to 3.5 inches. I'm going to put the first one right there. The next one, I'm going to put it at 2.8 inches. And then the last one, I'm going to do it 2.1 inches. So we're going to have the lowest O-ring at 2 inches and the highest one at 3.5. The concrete is 1.5 inches. It's got 1.5 inch drop. So if we go another 1/2 inch, we should be able to catch a door with the 3 O-rings. We're going to use a parting tool. This is called a parting tool. This is made, or it's used to actually part the piece. I'm going to measure the diameter. We're at 1.2. Here, I do it like this. 238. I go to 3.5. Here are my DRO. 3.5. Right there, 3.5. I'm going to bring it into touch. Right there. We're going to slow the lathe down a little bit, and what we're going to do is we're going to push that in, because I want the small diameter, or the bottom of the groove, to be 1 inch. Okay? And we're going to make this groove 200 thousandths wide. All right, here we go. Put a little bit of WD-40 there, just lubrication. Let's go. All right, we're gonna go to 1.01. We're gonna leave 1,000 there for cleanup. And we're gonna go back 100 thousandths. The tool is 100 thousandths, so that's how we're gonna get our 200 thousandths. Okay, there. Push it into 1 inch. Remember, I left 1,000th of an inch on the bottom for cleanup, and you'll see why. I bring this one in all the way to 1 inch, and then just simply slide it across and let the parting tool clean the bottom. right there. Back it off. There's one. All right, that's it. And just kind of hit it with sandpaper. Just a little bit, not much. And also, make sure you get these edges right here so you can break the sharp edge. Stay away from the chuck, it hurts. There it is. We're going to paint it, so otherwise I would just polish it. Pretty much do the same as the groove, but go all the way in. And that's gonna cut it completely off. I'm gonna leave it right there. I don't want to cut it off all the way, so I don't want it to fall and get dinged up. And then just simply grab it, break it off, okay? Now we're gonna flip it around, do the other side. Clean the chuck real good. Make sure you don't have any chips, because you'll ruin this. Or not ruin it, but at least the finish. Hold it right there, hold it slightly. All right, I'm gonna take this out of here. Let me move this tool out of the way so I don't cut my hand on it. And there you have it. I'm gonna clean it up really good. And like I said, we're gonna put O-rings in here, and then that's going to be attached to the concrete like this via a concrete anchor. This is technically going to be the nut for the anchor bolt. So I'm gonna be able to screw it on. It'll be there on the concrete. When the door opens, it'll bump around against the bump stop and keep it from going too far. All right, so we're back, and that's where, you see that mark right there? That's where we're gonna put the door stop. Obviously it would work better out here, but that's gonna be a trip hazard, so we're not gonna do it over here. Simple, it's gonna sit right there. We're gonna attach that to the concrete. And when the door swings open, it'll bump against the doorstop right there. Well, we don't want the door to hit directly against the aluminum, so we're gonna put O-rings right over this doorstop in those grooves, and then when the door comes around, it's gonna hit the O-ring before it hits the bump stop. That's gonna hopefully keep this from damaging the door. Unless, of course, it hits it really hard, then I guess damage will be done regardless. The reason we didn't put it on is because we have to paint it. We were going to paint it. However, once we got here and put it up against the gray floor, we're thinking we're just gonna leave it alone. We're just not gonna paint it. We're gonna paint it the color of the wall, but I think that looks a lot better than if we painted it gray. So we're gonna leave it alone. We can always change it. That's the beauty of it. We're simply gonna put a strike anchor into here. I'll show you. All right, so we're gonna drill a hole, put that anchor in there, and then this doorstop that I made, as you guys know, is threaded on the bottom. So we're gonna put that bolt in there, then we'll thread this on there, and it'll be done. If you ever wanna remove it, you just have to thread it off. Simple. All right, Leroy, let's put it in. That didn't sound right.
Yeah, that did not sound right at all. I'm gonna mark the drill bit here, the depth of the anchor bolt where we want it to stop.
Which is what?
2 1/4. And I mark 2 1/4 with a piece of tape.
So you're only gonna go that deep, right?
Yep.
So the plan is to leave the entire thread exposed. So we're only gonna drill the hole this deep, which is, you can see, marked by the tape. All right, Leroy, good luck. All right, Leroy.
You got a sledgehammer?
So now you just drive that nail in. That's going to expand the bottom of that anchor bolt. That's it. It's locked in place.
Give me the honors.
Do the honors, Leroy.
This is like from the future, this doorstop. But you won't find one of these at any Lowe's or Home Depot, that's for sure.
All right. See, it falls in. All right, let's do the others. Look at that. See that? All right, Leroy. Just go ahead and clean everything up.
As always.
So anyway, simple doorstop. It's out of the way, and it'll keep the door from swinging all the way out and breaking off the hinges. Obviously, if a very strong wind catches it, well, it could potentially still cause damage, but that's just for regular use. That works good, Leroy.
It does.
Looks good too. I'm glad we didn't paint it. See, if you stand over here, you don't even see it. Can't even tell it's there. Good job. All right, there you have it. Simple yet effective. And it looks good too. It's gotta look good. Even if it doesn't work well. It's gotta look good. We'll see you guys next time. We are Texas Barndominiums.